Good evening, Snoochie Boochies. This is Joe Bravo with Mo Bravo Knife Reviews with Dryan Lynn.
At NYC Knife Life.
And I just got back from the Jersey Shore, so I'm doing my best Jay and Silent Bob impression. I got a suntan, no burn. I was doing my fist pumping at DJs, and all is good in the world. What
They
is
had
going on?
DJs.
Yeah, exactly. See, what's going on with you, Dryan? What's new?
I've got some knives in the mail recently, and not much. Going to pick up a puppy in Texas tomorrow.
Yeah, you got to get your TRM so that you can name it Yorkie, right?
Yeah.
Fucking dork. So what do you have? What you get this in this week?
Okay, so this week I got the Demco 80 or the Demco 80 20.5 and the Shiro 95T in blue anno.
Yeah, but what's steel? Come on, you got to be you
In
got,
blue anno M390
there you go.
steel.
Because what I learned this week is that F95Ts have been out for a while. You can actually
Yes.
get them on washers. You can get them in S30V. You can get them in S90V. I actually picked up an F95T, which was a Recon One exclusive.
In
Has a
S90, right?
in S90V with the blue and gold anno. Uh, you could probably get one. I think I saw one in Vanex as well this week. And shit, I saw another one in M398. So when you do your due diligence, you really got to be careful, especially with Shirogorov. Uh, Multi-row bearings and at least M390 is
Yes.
my base before going into any Shirogorov. What about you?
Yes, I completely agree. Like M390 and multi-row bearings is the bare minimum for any sort of Shiro. That is yeah, any Shiro, honestly. Um
Well, don't say any Shiro because the next step up from that is rollers and wash or rollers. And I know the
oh, rollers, you're
RJ
right.
Martin overkill, the Russian overkill. And my buddy Kyle recently has been putting rollers in his knives, and he said it's a vast improvement. But yes, for the most part, and we talked about this. I did a review on the F3 recently. That F3 was nice. It was LMAX single row bearing, but it was not as nice as any of the F95s that I've had with the M390. And I would definitely take a F3NS over an F3. The F3R and the F3NS, both M390, both liner lock and both multi-row bearing system. So between those two, I'd have no qualms with either of those. But Recon One did release some new ones. Did you see that, or at least have new quantities?
I think they have new quantities. I don't think they're new.
They are new because the Quantum
Really.
and the F3NS now have a ramped detemp ramp. And I was pissed. I had one all lined up. My buddy was going to give me a stellar deal on an F3NS, and then he walked it back, which whatever,
Oh, okay.
but it would have been really cool to check out one of these new F3NSs with the detamp ramp in on the blade, just to see if I could notice a difference or not.
Are
Uh,
you talking about the blue anno and the bronze anno?
I'm not. I'm talking about my buddy had a purple F3NS. And you know what?
Oh,
That's
okay.
funny. I should go back and look at the Recon one to see if the F95T with the S90V has a detent ramp in it. From what I hear, only the F3NSs and the new Quantums have the detent ramp in there. So it's just funny, the little nuances that you don't know until you see a newer model, or you go on the Recon website and you go, nobody publicized this at all, but this is a cool new feature that might be worth upgrading my existing F3NS, which has been out, 3-4 years, and moving into a newer style, so
So I'm looking at the purple carbon fiber F3NS on Recon 1 for 895, and it doesn't even say any of that.
see, I know it's so funny. I forget who I was talking to or where it was publicized, but supposedly the Quantums and the new F3NS has a detent ramp.
But anyways, so I got the 95T because I regret selling the first 95T in gray that I had. And so I was talking to Joe, like last month. I think it was like last month in May, and I was like, "Yo, if you come across a 95T anywhere, let me know. I will scoop it up." So lo and behold, like last week, Joe hits me up and he's like, "Yo, this dude on Reddit, he's getting rid of a 95T. It's blue anno. It's for a recent price, decent price." And I was like, "Okay, send me the link." Hit the dude up. Realized the dude lived in New York just like me, and he was within driving distance too. So we met up actually. So I negotiated with him, saved him a few bucks and like goods and service fees and shipping, and got it from him. Easy peasy. Same night as I contacted him, we just met up and I just got it. And dude's pretty chill. His name's Sean, and he's in our knife chat now, which is pretty cool.
It's always nice when you have a local person that you can actually meet. And, you guys might not know this. I've never met Dryan, and he's never met me. And
In person.
we're looking forward to meeting each other in the next couple of weeks. We got a nice meetup planned. And we're going to have a little bromance with our Koenigs, or at least my Koenig and our Shiros. What do you got now?
Shiro's.
What are you excited about? You got your Shiro, you got your what?
I got the Demco 20.5.
Yeah, I might
80
still have mine
20.5.
too at that point. We could bring both of our 80 20.5s and really have a fun night.
Well, you got the shark foot, I got the clip point. So
I got the best of both worlds. We could do a little
yeah,
comparo.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly. So I got the 80 20.5 in the mail, and I really enjoyed the shock lock. Like I've never had a Demco at all, like not even like the cold steel Demco. So I understand the hype behind the shock lock. The only like complaint I have about the mechanism is that it kind of stabs my finger a little bit when I play with it a little bit too much. But obviously, right, you shouldn't be playing with your knives. But I mean, if you don't play with your knives, then are they really your knives? So, one of the main things that I was worried about was the Grivery scales, like the plastic FRN scales, because I'm not a fan of FRN whatsoever. I hate them on the Spyderco's. Like, I will never ever get a lightweight, even though like a Spyderco Para 3 lightweight was my first ever like real knife. Um, like after holding so many knives in my hands, like I just become very like snooty with the material. So after holding this in my hands for the past like 2 days, it it does have flex on it when you squeeze down. Joel pointed that out to me, and it kind of just like ruined it was like a glass shattering like realization that it does have flex. But I mean, it still feels like a lot firm than like most FRM that you would come across like in Spyderco's. But I mean, like it's kind of unfair to compare it to Spyderco, I think, because it's a different company and everything, and they probably do things differently. I out of the box, factory edge cuts as well as like any other high end steel, even though it's OS 10A. And I mean, this knife isn't American made; it's an American company, but like it was made in Taiwan. But for 150 bucks, if this is your first EDC knife and like you're one and done and you're not like super into knife collecting, this would be a very solid choice to pick up, but only at 150 and not like the extreme markups that I've seen people like throw like 400 bucks for this knife or whatever. This is not a $400 knife. Maybe at most like 250. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. And those of you guys that know the Mo Bravo B knife review channel, I did have an 80/20 on the channel, and I compared it to my ZT301. And let me just say, if I had to do a comparison between the 20.5, I would probably marry it up against the ZT350. And I would keep going back to other American made companies like Zero Tolerance, because that was one of the foundations that I really started collecting knives. But I do think a ZT301, I'm sorry, a ZT350 is a very good comparison. So, Dryan and I were talking about this offline. Would you rather have S30V over AUS? Was AUS 10A?
Yeah, AUS 10A. I would rather have S30V, obviously, because I mean, like S30V when it first came out, that was like the primo steel, right? Like
Well,
nowadays, it's like like the bar, right? The standard,
and it's
I would
funny,
say.
I was doing a little bit of research. I guess Spyderco used to think, or used to promote AUS 10A steel as being one of their premium steels. It used to be up there with the ATS 34, and that was another highly marketable blade steel that both Benchmade and Spyderco referenced. And before VG10 came along, these steels were the premium steels. So could you imagine somebody paying a premium for a VG10 knife steel, blade?
Well, Nick Shabazz, like I think in his review of this knife, he compared it to like VG10.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, it's 440, it's VG10.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have as good of a corrosion resistance as S30V. And when I
Nope.
reference my ZT350, the ZT350 does have a coated blade. So I know it's S30V. What do you need a coated blade for? But if you do get, moisture on an S30V blade, you don't wipe it off, it'll get a rust spot, where a coated S30V blade, and again, if you wanted to play the game, is the shark lock as good as a liner lock or as a ZT350 with the torsion bar assist? Is it as good as a hold, flipper or, non-flipper, but, thumb stud deployed or hole open 80, 20 and a half with that shark lock? You might have to give the advantage to the shark lock because that thing is freaking bank vault. I don't know about you. Do you feel secure with that shark lock on your 80, 20 and a half?
Yes. The tolerance on the shark lock, it's immaculate for what it is.
Yeah, for $150 knife. And it's like, and this is what we're doing. We're splitting hairs over, two
Right.
$150 knives. I will be honest with you. If I had to take one or the other, I would take my ZT350 because I know and I love it. I love the flipper deployment. Yes, it does have a little tension when you close it. Yeah, on the 80/20.5, you can flip the hell out of it. But damn it, the shark lock does not fit where I want to put my hands on a knife when I want to play with it. Is that weird?
No, I completely understand what you're trying to say.
I
Like,
have to reach to get off of the knife blade, to get up to the spine, to disengage it, to close it, to then come back down around it and flip it with my finger. And I know people break my balls all the time. I disengage a frame lock from the back side of the knife, almost from the lock bar side. A lot of people use their thumb and they push their thumb, but that leaves your thumb in the path of the blade. But I take my pointer finger, I wrap it around it, and I close it. And then my hand's already on the side of the knife to flip it back open again. And it just means less movement in between times I get to flick it. And I know that sounds stupid, but for me, I'd rather a frame lock or a liner lock over the shark lock for messing around with.
yeah, like I think the shark lock, uh, the improvement I would say would probably just like get rid of the jimping and like maybe smooth out like the triangle shape a little bit more, because my finger does get caught on it when I try to disengage. But other than that, I really do enjoy it for what it is. And for like $150 knife, like you can't really go wrong. Like until like Spyderco comes out with like a PM2 lightweight, this is like the healthy, better alternative to that. Once Spyderco comes out with a PM2 lightweight for like say $130 or whatever, then like this might be obsolete in my opinion, just because of like better material. And compression lock, while it's not like, I mean, the fanciest, I do enjoy compression locks. It was the first lock mechanism of like real knives that I've actually owned, because like the lightweight and everything, the PM3 Para 3 lightweight, nobody says PM3, but that I owned. And I came to like really enjoy that, like just one hand like opening and closing of a knife. And I mean, like it wasn't until like I started collecting ZTs that I got into frame locks, and boy, oh man, like I don't know if it's just me, it might be just me, but like the frame locks on ZTs and just their locking mechanism and stuff like is horrible. Like um there's, I would say like zero tolerance is the correct name for that brand of knives, because there is literally zero tolerance on those knives.
Yeah, you think so? You don't like the slop that's in there?
No, I really don't. And like every like ZT knife I've owned had some major QC flaw. It's the 4050 and CF I owned. For the life of me, it literally came, the blade came not centered. And I tried my best to center it, and every time the pivot would always loosen. I put blue Loctite in there and it still loosened somehow. So the point I just traded it away. And like same thing with like two other ZTs I owned. Although I did like the assisted Mac the assisted ZT that I owned. Oh fuck, what was it? Um I think it's the only assisted blade. It's like 4770 maybe.
I mean, the only assisted blade, the ZT301 is assisted, the
Let me
ZT350 is assisted.
let me Google it. Hold
Yeah,
on.
you Google it, and I'm gonna come up with a little conundrum I had this week. I got a couple of new knives in. I had a Nirvana small Verzanti and a Tough Knives Protocol come in the same day. So I had purchased the Tough Knives Protocol about a month ago, and it had lock stick from hell. And it was the coolest thing in the world because I got to go to the Tough Knives website, and on the website, instead of an email, there's a phone number. You're like, all right, there's a phone number, no email. Let me call the phone number, see what happens. Hello? Yeah, hi, I'm calling Tough Knives. Yeah, this is Jeff. I go, Jeff, you're the maker, right? Yeah. This is your phone number? And he's like, yeah, I tell people this all the time. Just call me because it's so much easier to handle the situation talking to the person than it is to go in an email, go into a queue. And so 30 minutes later, I'm talking to Jeff about all the cool stuff. He does the arc form slim, all the different variations of the tough knives. And you're gonna laugh. He makes so many different variations. He forgot what the protocol looked like. This knife that I have, it's a spider hole open only titanium with some ano, and I freaking love it. But I didn't love it because the freaking lock stick was that bad. It was hurting my hands just to get the thing apart. So I sent it to him. A month later, he sent it back, and I didn't know it was going to come in today. He didn't say nothing. Came in, and it happened to come in the same day the Rosanti came in, and it was great because the whole reason I bought the tough knife was to compare it to the Rosanti, and it was just amazing that they happened to come the same day. I'm all excited. The Paisan, the Spyderco was one of the first knives that I had gotten me. It was integral. I hated it. It was terrible. I found Knife Swap, and the rest is history. So here it is. I've got the Nirvana in hand. I'm flicking it open, and it's like, okay, this is pretty cool. I like it. It's a little small. I got big hands. So I opened up the tough knives and the protocol, and son of a bitch, the first Spidey flick, this freaking thing, it was like the angels were singing when I opened this thing. No, here I am. I got a $1,600 Rosanti Integral Nirvana 3.0 with Zerk pivot and milled handles, and I don't even want to touch it. I go, what the freak? Why am I going to touch this Nirvana when I've got this beautiful tough knives that just fits me so well? It's got such a good deployment. And I want to ask you, have you ever had two knives come in at the same day and you were so excited for one knife, and the only reason why that excitement didn't carry over to the next day is because on that same day you got something else and it turned out you liked that knife better?
Yeah, actually that happened to me. So not the same day, but the same week. Uh I got the Chris Reeves and Kosi in S45 VN, right? The
Yeah.
PJ that I was talking about like last podcast. And I was playing with that because I really enjoyed it. But then like once I got the Shiro hasn't really left my side. I mean, like the 80 20.5 came in the mail. I like was like playing with that a little bit, but I went back to the 95T because it's just that much better.
There's nothing like that thwack, right?
Nothing like that to whack. And then the drop guillotine action, holy shit.
I know, it's unbelievable. It really is. It's stupid. It's stupid how much fun one can have with a knife sometimes, and that's really how I felt with this protocol. And it's not a knock on the Nirvana. It's a fantastic knife. I feel like if I got a large Nirvana or a large Paisan, I would have a different opinion on things. But the fact that this tough knives fits my hand so well, the fact that Jeff took this thing, spotted over, and that it was flawless when it came to my house, really just adds to the level of customer satisfaction he goes above and beyond to give you. And I just want to make sure, I'm sure he's not listening, but anybody that is thinking about grabbing one of his knives, and son of a bitch, he had what is it, an arc foot? Yeah,
A
the
slim foot.
slim foot. He had one of those tough knives version. So if a slim foot is something that you are excited about in the arc form platform, go on his Instagram page and try and grab that slim foot, because I've got this protocol. I love it, and I still want to go get a slim foot because it just looked awesome. He makes everything by hand, no CNC machines. He just kind of does it by eye. I'm sure he's got some markups, but you know,
So
uh,
so you want to like say his IG so people, so our listeners can like go and see,
yeah, I
like
can.
pause the video.
No, I don't have to pause the video. I'm a
No.
fucking
I mean, like they could pause the video and then just go check really quick so they know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah, sure. It's Tough Knives. It's TUFFKNIVES. Jeff
Tough knives.
Blavelt, and I'm killing that name, Blavelt.
Holy
Uh,
shit, that's slim foot
yeah. Did you say
with the
it?
spidey hole.
With a
Holy
spider
shit,
hole. Right? Are you kidding me? What? And did it sell? I said, see that? Oh, that's a mini. He
it's a
had it.
mini. Yep.
Yeah, he had a mini, and he was making it earlier this week. There it is. 3 days
What
ago,
what's
Slim
the
Foot
price
Mini
for that?
working. My protocol was 1,400, and my wife, if you're listening, I'm just kidding. But no, I promise you, she ain't listening to this yet. But yeah, I mean, 1,400 ain't bad, I mean, for a quality knife that comes with a pretty good warranty. Obviously don't break it on your end, but lock stick, if it's easy enough. It seems like Jeff will do what he can to support you, and that's great. I really appreciate that.
He
Thank
makes
you, Jeff.
axes.
What's that?
He makes axes.
Oh yeah, I mean, I fucking make anything. I don't have to tell you.
Wow, some of his designs are like really cool.
I know, because he's not married to a CNC machine. That's what's cool about it. I mean, why do you think Koenig released a prototype for the Mini Arius? And I'm
Hmm.
getting ahead of myself, but it's a good segue to go into it.
Yep.
Why was it so much? Why? Because he had to redo his CNC program on all of his machines in order to, mill and cut and water jet and do everything he needs to in the manufacturing process to make the Mini Arius. And that
I wonder
takes time.
I wonder how much are those machines?
Oh, like hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on which one. I mean, I
Yeah.
know everybody knows I'm an engineer. I did a robot cell for Messier Bugatti, who makes airplane brakes. We would take the carbon fiber disc brakes, we would hit it with a barcode scanner, we would pick the raw carbon fiber disc, we'd throw it into 3 different Doosan CNC machines and kick it out. And yeah, it's a shit ton of money. I did one in Malaysia and shit, 2 in Malaysia and 1 in Kentucky. It's all machine tool, and it's no different than what these guys are doing, whether it's a Haas, whether it's a Doosan, whether it's I can't think of some of the other CNC names that I could, but yeah, you need to know the G code. You need to do the 3D model. You got to take the step file out and you got to process it so that the CNC knows the XYZ coordinate. And then you need your tolerances. So then, like, with Messier Bugatti, they had a Zeiss, Zeiss camera.
Yes.
They had a Zeiss inspection tool that was doing like 0.0001 fucking, inches or millimeters, because I was in Malaysia, but then it's a German fucking thing. It wouldn't be in inches, but just checking the tolerances to make sure that everything was milled to that extent and quality. And yeah, guess what? When you do mass production runs of stuff like that, that takes time. And then in addition to that, you got to factor in tool wear. So, how many different runs can you do before your machining process becomes out of tolerance? And I can't speak to this. This is my assumption, but I think that the, Gen 4 batch 3 versus Gen 4 batch 4 versus Gen 4 batch 5 may have something to do with tooling changes, or even CNC modifications to the program. It's not a guy like Jeff who custom makes every knife. You can't go back to him and be like, hey, can I get a backspacer for a protocol? I'd be like, no, I'd have to make one. like by hand. It's not like you can be like, hey, Bill, John over at Koenig, can you guys just run a batch of backspacers real quick? I'm not marginalizing any of that, but the program is already built into there, and it's all part of doing mass production and integrating SAP and doing lean manufacturing and Six Sigma. And I'm going to stop because this is all the stuff I do for work. And fuck that, this is knives. I don't want to talk about that. But the segue into that is the mini Arius at Blade Show, and the fact that one sold for what, over $3,000, Dryan?
No, it didn't sell for over 3 grand. The dude got punked down to 2,500. And I don't
No,
even.
no, 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 no. The prototype
Oh,
at Blade, I thought was like 3,600, 3,700. It was the first prototype Arius that was auctioned off.
oh yeah, the auction. Yeah, it was like over 3K, I want to say.
Yeah, I think it was like $3,600. And then
Yeah.
everybody that won, I think there was 26 of them, mini Ariuses that were lottoed off. I think they were around $1,600. So again, you
1,200, I think.
1,200. Okay, so
Yeah.
a regular Arius is 800, 700. Depending on the configuration. Just think of how much extra time. You're not buying more parts. It's a smaller knife. You're using less. You probably have more waste, but you're using less. And at the end of the day, it is the time they'd spent. So you're like, okay, you built them. Obviously, you got 26 of them. I want one tomorrow. Ramp up and let's go. But it doesn't work like that. You need to have your whole manufacturing process. I mean, even to the extent, and I know this sounds stupid, the box that it comes in, you need a different size box to come in because it's not the same size as the Arius. So that's another thing. I mean, even like the Holts, I've had like 6 different Holts. You can get one Holt that comes in one box that's this color, another one comes in a different color. If you have the bent starburst versus the checkered, guess what? The freaking insert inside the box is specific for the type of knife that you have with the milling pattern. I had a feather the other day. It was different than my bent starburst box. So just imagine everything that goes into mass producing a knife. And then on the other side, think of everything else that goes into it, that you don't think about. And, it's interesting. It could even be down to screw sizes. An Arius can take a half an inch or a half a, 3/4 inch or an eighth of an inch, length screw. Well, a mini Arius could do a totally different length because it's a different size with a different thickness. And it's all about getting stocked up to handle, that manufacturing process. And I know I'm, rambling, and I apologize, but yeah, we're excited. Bill and John, get that shit going because we want to buy him. Shut up and take our money.
Definitely. So any other knives catch your eye at Blade Show
Hell
that was like
yeah. I got my NCC Robert Carter collaboration BBM. And if you haven't seen it, check out my Instagram. I just posted it. I was talking to Nick Choppin earlier today. I sent him a picture. He's like, yo, share that to your story and I'll reshare it. So if you do follow Nick Choppin, you might see that. I also tagged Bill and a couple of the other guys with Holt, just having some fun with my collection. And I'm telling you, the milling and the ano and the Zerk and the lockup and the thwack. If you haven't held a BBM, you're missing out. I know they don't get the credit that they deserve. Go find one, go pay for it. The custom book spots are still getting chugged out, so there's no new stuff. You got to find them on the secondary. There's a V1, there's a V2. Supposedly, what I got was like a V2.5 because he made some upgrades over to V2s, and definitely give them a look. Another knife that I'm disappointed that I didn't jump on was the Brown Cortex V3. And I know you're gonna be like, "What the fuck, Joe? That's your knife. Why didn't you buy it?" And it's because everything that Craig had on his Instagram page didn't show a V2 with a hole. I want a V2 with a hole. And son of a bitch, I told him, and you know what he said? Nah, there's none left. I was like, God damn it! Why the hell did I wait? I had guys, proxying for me. All they could have done is gone over there, and I would have bought one in a heartbeat. But I didn't. And guess what? I talked to Craig this week. There are now going to be drops on Craig's website every Friday. This week it was at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. From what the email and the newsletter said, once a week, Fridays around that time, he's going to be dropping new knives. There was about 6 or 8 knives on the drop. They went quick. My buddy Jeffrey, that listens to the show, was able to pick one up. Good for you, you bastard. But it didn't have a hole, so I'm not that salty. I am going to keep checking every Friday. And if one of you bastards happen to pick up a Cortex with a hole, let me know. I will not overpay, but I will coerce you to give it to me, or at least sell it to me. But yes, if you have not held a brown Cortex, I mean, Screaming Pirate, I know we talked about him on the show, Brad. He's like, Joe, I'm sorry. You've been telling me about these guys, and I have not given it any consideration at all. Brad went to Blade Show. He came home with a Cortex, and I said, guess what? You
He
came home
came
with a
home.
Fuller.
He came home with more than a Cortex.
That's true, but he's
He came
selling.
home with the knife of the show.
Oh man! All right, go ahead. You can talk about that. That's your boy. Go ahead.
All right, so Brad came home with a Brian Brown custom, and not just any Brian Brown custom. He came home with a Warthog with the dyno handles, and that thing is beautiful. And he's been flaunting it every day, everywhere on social media, and he has every right to. Congratulations, Brad, on that amazing knife.
Don't congratulate Brad. He didn't win that shit.
Well, no, like of just getting it. Like,
No, but he didn't win it.
well, he got it. He's
How'd he get it?
actually, I forgot, how do you get it?
His wife won that shit.
Oh, his wife won that shit. That's right.
So the moral of this story is you bring your wife to Blade Show. You do it. You just multiplied your chances.
Wait, no.
Yes.
Hold on.
Yes.
Do not bring a wife that is into
knives.
knives. Do not bring a wife that's into knives.
That's true. That's like going in the Louis Vuitton store.
Yeah, like bring a wife that's not into knives, but is very supportive of your hobby.
There you go. Just use their name. And you know what? While you're at it, bring your kids too. Put their names in it. Shit. And your parents, use their. I can't believe it, man. When he told me his wife got picked for that freaking knife, of all freaking knives, his knife. And now, was it that knife that won Tactical Folder of the Year, or is it just Brian Brown won Tactical Folder?
Brian Brown. I'm pretty sure it was Brian Brown, but I would have to double check. But I'm pretty sure it was just him. Yeah, he's the folder knife.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I'm and that knife's spectacular. The knives that he had there were spectacular. That engraved one was out of control. So it was really cool to see that, and nice to see that Brian Brown, I don't want to say he's getting recognition, but is being awarded for the level of quality he's been putting out, or at least that's what I'm told with the level of quality. I'll let you speak to that, Dryan.
What's that?
The level of quality of Brian. I mean, the only Brown I have on pre-order right now are the Raptors and the Chucks, and neither of them are in my hand, so I can't speak to it. But
yeah, the action on the Jaeger is just phenomenal. Like, I mean, the Jaeger that I had was a production one, so I've never held a custom. So I mean, like the custom is probably 20 times better, but like I can't say because I've never held one in my hand or just never in the presence of it. But like the quality of the production Jaeger just blew me away, and I can't wait for that Jaeger drop, like either this month or next month from EDC Foundry and Knife Joy with the DLC blade. So really stoked about that.
Yeah, awesome, man. So another vendor that I didn't know too much about was McNeese. I guess it's John McNeese and McNeese Custom Knives. He does the Mac 2. Now, Brad and my buddy Justin told me about the Mac 2. I had never heard of it. It's got thumb studs. I don't want it, but they raved about it, so I bought it. And guess what? They came in the mail today, and my thumbs hurt. You like thumb studs?
I like certain thumb studs. For example, I like Benchmade thumb studs. I
agree. Is that weird?
I don't like CRK thumb studs.
Yeah, at all, man. I know we talked about my TI Monolock. I've got the 940. I've got the Crooked River, and I don't mind deploying and playing with those knives any day of the week.
Yeah, another one. I like TRM thumb studs with the O-rings on it. Amazing.
And you know what it is? It's the Axis lock doesn't make any way that you would ride the frame lock because it's not a frame
Hmm.
lock. And all I could tell you is like when I had my Chavez, my 229 Ultramar, my
Hmm.
thumbs fucking killed. My same thing with my pointer
Hinderer.
finger on my hinderer, my Gen
Yeah.
4 hinderer. It was like, fuck, man, I don't even want to use this knife because I ride the lock bar so hard. And
Yeah.
that's why I love liner locks, or at least bigger knives where I could get on the pocket clip. I mean, you're talking about a pinky finger and maybe a ring finger at best on some of these pocket clips.
Yeah. Call me like a little bitch boy, but like I cannot flip open a hinderer without the flipper tab. I cannot like with those thumb studs do nothing for me on a hinderer.
I agree
Like
100%.
it
And
is so hard.
the people that buy Gen 4s and run them on washers, God bless you. You're a bigger man than I am. I'll say it. My hands do not care for washers, Teflon or bronze with thumb studs. Even a freaking, we all know it. You buy a 31 or a 21 or an
Hmm.
Nkosi, and you try and flick it like it's a Benchmade. And guess what? It's not. No matter what you do, it's not.
Your thumbnail will press down on you.
I know it is right now. It's throbbing. I'm like, what the hell? I'm giving my son a bath, and my shit is fucking bleeding. It's like, what did I do? But yeah. So I also picked up a Dixon, which is a custom knife, not a production variant. This is all in house. And I want to make mention. I thought this is really strange. I did this through a proxy, and he's like, "Yeah, I got this cool custom." I said, "Hey, does it have a hole?" He goes, "Yeah, yeah." I go, "Can you spidey flick it?" He goes, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." So I get it home. I turn it around. There's no relief to get to the spidey hole from the lock bar side. I go, what? Why would anybody do a knife with a hole in it that is only thumb? Are you listening to me? Hello?
Yeah, like
Is this thing on?
like I don't know, dude. Like
Why? Why would you do hole only and not allow yourself to spidey flick that shit from the underside?
that's just missed opportunity, I
And it's
think.
funny. I got a buddy of mine on the Killer Customs page, and he has a Dixon. And I'm like, bro, I'm gonna sell my Dixon and buy your Dixon. And if we were Leonard Kenny fans, we'd talk about Ginny Dixon. But his was actually Matt Weir. What the hell is Matt Weir's last name? From Weird Knives, it was Matt's. And he actually did the relief on it. He drilled it and put the chamfer in and gave the hole of relief so that you can reverse spidey flick it. And I was like, shit, I'm gonna grab that from you. I'll sell mine. And then I was so disappointed. It was in 1095 carbon steel.
Oof.
Right? What the fuck? I said, why would anybody build this knife, put the freaking relief in, and have a carbon steel blade on an EDC folder that you want to fucking play with and carry around? Wait, hang on. I'm gonna keep my fucking pocket knife in my right pocket and my bottle of KPL in the left pocket. I mean, I don't know, man. So now I'm torn. Do I keep the knife and put the chamfer in it and have somebody, put the relief in? It's awesome. It's got a copper backspacer. It's got a copper pivot collar, and it's just a really, really cool looking knife that I really could get behind, especially since they're a U.S. company. Everything's made in the U.S. Even the Mac 2s are made in the U.S. I thought they were Riot. I was wrong. I went to Knife Joint, took a look, and it says that everything is primarily U.S. made, assembled here in the United States. They got the flag on it to prove it. Nothing says Riot. So I was really, really, really impressed. I put skiffs in the Mac 2. They're great. And through my buddy Chad, he was able to grab uh, Mac 3.5 number 2. It's the second 3.5. And he actually extended that to me, and I was able to get that into my buddy MB Wild's hands. And did you hear him talking about that today in the chat group?
No, I was actually absent from the chat group. What'd he say?
He put salt and pepper or glide bearings in that shit, and he is loving it. And MB is really methodical, down to earth guy. And when he was talking about that thing, you can hear the excitement in his voice light up, and it was really cool. I'm very excited. My buddy Justin at High Grains Custom, he is also excited about the 3.5. In fact, I bought two Mac 2s because I thought my buddy Justin wanted a Mac 2. And guess what? He wanted a Mac 2 3.5. And now I've got two Mac 2s I got to get rid of. Lucky me. But that's Justin at high.grain.designs. And if you guys have a nice wallet, it's Father's Day coming up, give him a call and see what he's got in stock. You should definitely check out his beautifully handmade wallets in coming out of California. So Justin, I'm sorry I didn't get you a Mac 3.5, and screw you for not buying the Mac 2 you already have because I bought it for you. Just kidding. All right, so what else we got? Kenenson. Now, if I'm saying that right, do you ever know how to say that?
I've been pronouncing it like Ken Onion,
Yeah, Kennison.
Kennison or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll do. So the Alpha was, I guess they hit their centennial mark. They did their 100th model, and for whatever reason, Kennison, when they get done at 100 models, they retire it. So that is it. There were no more Kennison's alphas to be made. So if you want an alpha pup or some of the other models that they have, the Stray, the Camden, you can get those, but I don't think you can get an alpha anymore. So what else, Dryan, you want to talk about?
Let's see. The scapegoat. The Chavez scapegoat. Did we go over that?
No. So Brad was able to get, and Brad was kind of our proxy for getting videos and talking about stuff, and he did a
Yeah.
great job. I did not care for the Ultramar. Did you have a Chavez? You had the talk, right?
Yeah, so I had the I've had several. I've had the Redemption, the Liberation, and the Talk so far.
Nice.
A-
And did you have any issues riding the lock bar with the
I,
Redemption or
I
the?
had no issue riding the lock bar with the Redemption. I had ultra issue riding the lock bar with the Liberation and no issue with the Talk.
Wow, well, the tax aligner, ain't
Yeah. Yeah.
it?
Well, I mean, like I'm just covering my bases while other Chavezes I've
I
owned.
know, I know. So Brad had one of the scapegoats in his hand, and he was very excited. You should have heard about it. I
Did
mean,
he say it was just as chunky as any other Chavez though?
well, it's a Chavez.
I want a thin Chavez.
Well, guess what? You could possibly get that because one of the things that Brad did say is that it will be shipping with a secondary pocket clip. So if the skull is too chunky for you, the alternative pocket clip might be exactly what you're looking for.
I'm actually more complaining about the actual like handle itself. I want that to be thinner.
Well, I'm going to be racist and talk about your small Asian hands, but for my manly Italian American hands, I do
your,
like the
sp-
chunkiness.
your
But
your spaghetti noodles.
there you go, sausage links, baby. Come on. But yeah, it's so funny. Even with my big hands and the Ultramar being as big as it was, it had a great action. Don't get me wrong, but
Mhm.
fuck, I just couldn't get my hands on the pocket clip to not ride the lock bar, and it was terrible. And it sucks because that looked like a fucking knife I was really going to enjoy. You know?
You have to have big chunky hands like Ramon.
Yep. He's a
To
big dude, ain't he?
yeah, like I mean, just I feel punched just like looking at him. No
Yeah.
offense.
No,
Like
no.
I mean, like like the dude's like super cool from what I've heard. Like he looks intimidating, but like he's very approachable from what I've heard.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about that. But all right, so I also want to touch
Wait,
on. Oh,
wait.
good.
There's one Chavez that he did show at Blade Show that was a custom that he hopes to put into production maybe sometime in the future because he was super excited about it. Is that fixed blade that he showed? And if I completely forgot what the name is, but you guys can go to Blade HQ right now and like look at their recent like Blade Show video of the interview that they did with Ramon, and he shows that fixed blade in there, and that thing is fucking beautiful.
Yeah, I didn't see that, man. I'm, you know, poo poo on me for not seeing that. I didn't watch that, but Man,
Yeah,
that'd be pretty exciting. Like I said,
a
I
Chavez
don't
fixed blade.
I don't mind the stuff that Chavez is doing, and that'd be cool to see what type of configuration comes out of his brain because he does some wild stuff.
Exactly.
So then, real quick before we move on to some of the drama of Blade Show, the CKF Brutus came out and was at Blade Show, and I had the opportunity to pick one up, and I'm kind of glad I didn't. Not because it was a bad knife; it's a heavy knife. Do
It's
you do you
it's like a
know
cleaver.
it is? But do you know what the freaking weight is?
It's like 7 ounces, right?
More.
Really?
8 ounces. I'm on the website now.
Wow.
228 grams. Now, I had a Curtis F3 large, and that was around 7 ounces. And that was heavy. And I like big knives, and that was heavy. But 8 ounces. I mean, what do you think of Crooked River? No, because that's a big knife. That's a 4 inch.
Okay, let me see. I've had a Crooked River full size
I
before.
know. That's what I'm saying. I figured that you would.
Let me see. I would say anywhere between 5 or 4 ounces.
Okay. And weight 5.41 ounces. Now
I
that's
was
a big,
I was
you're fucking spot
close.
on. I know. That's a big ass knife.
Yeah, it is.
Fucking 5.4 ounces. You're talking about almost double. Let's say what, three quarters, 75% of that. That's a
Also,
lot.
small like shove to Benchmade. Like I've seen them do like crew wear with the Adamas and like just upgrading like the steel and shit and like their like past models. Fucking update the Crooked River line. Like that thing with better steel than S30V would sell like hotcakes.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, man. That knife scares me. I think I'd rather a mini Crooked River. The Crooked River 4 inch blade with that fucking clip point. It's like you gotta pay attention using
Mhm.
that thing, man, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, the hunt line is specifically used for like the like average like hunter per se, like the people who like going into the woods for like weeks on end and just like hunting shit. So, I mean, the Crooked River is very like it's very like the aesthetic of it is very like huntery aesthetic slash like old timey like I'm going to like skin a deer for like several hours kind of like vibe, you know?
Yeah, it's very utilitarian.
Yes, definitely.
That's the word you were looking for. I know you just didn't say
My millennial brain wouldn't let me.
it. But yeah, so let's move on to some of the muddy waters of Blade Show drama. And
Ooh, my favorite part.
we're gonna do our best to kind of just talk about it around it. There was some thievery at Blade Show. And uh the community's pretty tight. Everybody's got their own opinions about it, but for the most part, everybody's making sure everybody else is on the level. Would you agree?
Yes, 100%.
You could disagree on what kind of knife, you could disagree on a price, you could disagree on a maker, you could disagree on anything. But at the end of the day, after a piston match, the next day you could talk about something totally different, agree on it, and be over and done with it.
The thing about like the knife community that I do enjoy is like you could like be as much of an asshole as you want to be, and as long as you're not like super serious about it and you're just like busting balls, like people will bust your balls back, obviously, but you just gotta know how to take it and you take it as a good sport, then like everybody will have a good time, you know. But like, I mean, if you do something unspeakable and unforgivable like knife theft at a blade show, like that might be something hard to come back from.
Yeah, it really is. And that's why I wanted to bring this section up to also talk about EDC. Was it Go or No Go?
Hmm.
It's a great website. If you're going to do a deal on Facebook and you haven't interacted with somebody before, we always tell everybody to get vouchers. But, another step on top of that is to go to the Facebook group EDC Go or No Go.
And type in
And
their name. Type in their name. That's it.
and it's a great tool. If their name's not in there, great. That's step one. Step two would be go to the Facebook page that you had your post on and search for their name there. I'll be honest, if the person I'm doing business with has not posted to that site once,
Sketch.
I'm weary. I mean, if his Facebook is new, I'm weary. If he hasn't commented or posted on anything, I'm weary. If he doesn't have a sale, or and I always get weirded out when people delete their sales stuff if you don't have a presence on there. If you bought a knife, if you said in, if you said YOLO, if you said PM sent, as dumb as that sounds, it just leads a trail of breadcrumbs for me to determine whether or not you're somebody who's part of the community or somebody who's looking to troll and scam somebody. So I do recommend that if you do that, sell a knife, go and Google that person. Sometimes you get a guy who's like, yeah, I'm a moderator on the Hinderer page. And you're like, well, I don't belong to the Hinderer page. Join the Hinderer page. It might take 10 minutes. It might take a half hour. Join the
Honestly,
page and look them up. Don't.
honestly, like what happened at Blade Show, you can't even like trust the whole like I'm a moderator on this X page of knives anymore.
And it's weird because everybody kind of knows that when you get intoxicated, maybe it's not the best of you, and I'm always looking to be the kind of person that likes to uh look at it, the glass half full kind of thing. But on the other side of that, you guess it's your name, it's who you are. And I know a lot of people in this community have had struggles, are having struggles. If you are, don't be afraid to get help. If your help tells you to get more help, listen, and don't let it get to the point where it interferes with your life. And I promise you, I'm not saying it's sitting up on my high horse. Just stay part of the community. We like to have you. We like to interact with you. And if getting over there to the next level is going to do something to jeopardize that, don't get to that point. And let's continue to have conversations with you, interact with you, and have you be part of the community, because I think we could all benefit over the ladder. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, totally. I mean, like to add on to that, like there's the old saying where like you as like relationships go, like you can't love somebody without loving yourself first, right? So in the same essence, you can't love knives until you love yourself. So that means taking care of yourself before your love for knives, and just putting yourself first and making sure you get the help you need and living a healthy, what would be seen as a healthy lifestyle. Not saying like like for instance, I mean, there's people fall under vices, right? Like knife collecting is obviously a vice for most of us. And not talking about that, but something that leads into like destructive behavior that affects the people around your space and your loved ones, like that is something to reflect upon and not deflect when people call you out on it.
Yeah, and it's hard. Sometimes you got to get told once. Sometimes you got to get told 10 times. Sometimes you don't learn until something like what happened at Blade Show, happens. And, the only thing I could say to anybody who's close to that or, experiences something like that is, you know, try and get help before that becomes what happens to you.
I
Because,
I I don't think like that instance was the only theft. I think there were multiple thieves. Like I don't think the prototype Wii Banters like ever, like the baby Banters like ever got retrieved.
yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. And look at the Borka got, stolen, misplaced. I don't know. I
Some
mean,
dude was trolling online about the Borka saying like, "Oh, I randomly like found the Borka in a bush and like there was no way of me like returning it, so like I sold it or whatever." And it's like, but then like the community got together, called this dude out, Like there was actually like a reward for like more information to like find this guy for like a hot minute on Instagram. And eventually the Borka was returned, but like I mean, I don't know if the dude like actually stole it. Like there wasn't really any follow-up. It was just like a dude trolling. He got called out for it. Like his life was kind of like being ruined in the process, and all of a sudden the Borka just reappeared. So I mean, put two and two together, but like who's to say like what's actually happened, you know?
And really just, you know, be a fucking man, you know, or a woman. I know we got multiple people. Hi, Kristen. I know you're listening. But you know, it's your name, it's your livelihood, it's the community you want to be a part of. And like Dryan says, if it's interfering with your day to day, whatever it is, talk to somebody and get help, you know?
Also, if we're doing shout outs, hi Alex. I know you've been like pushing us to do a podcast because you're bored at work. So here it is.
Blurry photos. What's going on, man? All right. So let's get off the Blade Show drama.
Uh-huh.
And I like that we just talked about EDC go or no go, because I'm telling you, I think those are some of the really good ways to protect yourself. But what is up and coming as far as drops?
So really quickly, the CKF Evo 3.0 is open right now for those who wants to experience an Evo. The 3.0 is the next thing, and pre-orders are open right now. And I can actually go on the website right now and point that out. So the full Damascus, everything like the blade, uh wait, no, full Dama steel blade. There we go.
Come on, get it
The
right.
well, Dama Steel is actually the name of the company, but I think that's what it is. But anyways, so it's $444 down payment for that one because that thing is like fit to the T. The Blackwash OD Green Micarta inlay, that's 150. The plain Jane is 150 down payment. The full DLC, which is the one I got, is 150, and then the Zerka TI pivot collar one is 150 with a satin blade. So those are still open. It's going to be open until Monday. If you're going to grab one, do it sooner rather than later.
Yeah. So I want everybody to know the dark titanium with the Zerk UTI collar and the Zerk backspacer has a hand rubbed blade and a titanium pocket clip. What they did this time is excluding the Damasteel blade with the Damascus scales. Every other configuration comes with a titanium pocket clip. If you want the dark Zerk UTI pocket clip, you need to purchase it separately. And because I knew that, I did. I have two purchased or pre-ordered. The first one is the dark titanium with the Zerk collar and the Zerk clip, backspacer. And you know, because Dryan's my friend, I had to get a murdered out one. Uh, because if I didn't get one, I would be jealous of Dryan's murdered out one. So I got a murdered out DLC coded, black scaled. Are they DLC scales? You know, I didn't listen to you when you said it.
Yeah, it's all black handle and black DLC edition M390 satin TI backspacer.
Right, but it's is it black titanium or is it black DLC scales? Does it say?
It says all black handle. That's what it is.
Thanks for all that information, you damn Russians. And that's from Russia with knives, right? Is the website.
Yep.
And
Let's see.
some people had a problem with PayPal. If you try and check out with PayPal using a business account, it's going to fail. So just use a guest account or go to their Instagram page through Instagram and try and order it through the link at Instagram. And I heard that there's been some success going that way.
So what does the Zerk TI clip look like?
It looks like the one I've got in my Evo 2.0.
So so like
Every
all purpley and stuff.
Oh yeah, the dark purpley stuff.
Right.
It's not flashy, which is why I have a Juan Tortilla Damascus pocket clip on my dark rubbed,
So,
and it looks awesome.
so it's only the clip, not the backspacer.
Correct. So the
Yeah.
only one that has a Zerk backspacer, and you know, in the standard configurations, is the dark titanium, hand rubbed. Everybody else, I believe, has the aluminum. And then the only one with the collar with the Zerk UTI is the one, again, with the dark titanium and the Zerk backspacer. But I'll be honest, on the 2.0, the Zerk collar is very underwhelming of the Zerk UTI. It's not big enough. The 1.0, that Zerk UTI you can see from across the room. The 2.0, not so much. So being that the the Evo 3.0 is going to be bigger than the 2.0, I am also excited, hopefully, that the collar also increases in size and becomes similar to the size of the 1.0 because it did, add a lot to bling and, bling it out, I guess you could say, right?
For sure, definitely.
All right. So then, in addition to that, we talked about Craig Brown and the Cortex being on his page. So no book spots for the month of June, or no custom book spots. I'm going to assume that July it's going to start back up again. But Fridays, check out his page, brownknives.com, and knives for sale. And you'll see the knives he's got dropping, during the week.
So there's rumors about the mini Axon from Vero, still no date, but know that that is something that they plan to work on in the future.
Mini Axe on, Axe off.
Mini Axon X off. That
JC
should be a
Penney.
T-shirt. Just get permission from Joseph first.
Yeah. Northeast EDC podcast, Axe on, Axe off.
Yeah.
So EDC Foundry, our buddy Wes, we've been doing some discussing, and there should be some new Ariuses coming out, right, Dryan?
Yeah, so no time on those. Like he said he'll give like better time like once we talk like later down the road. But no time on those. But if you missed out on some Blade Show Arius's configurations, EDC Foundry and other dealers will be having those in their hands. And possibly even like if you go to Blade Show West, they might be there. So multiple chances of picking up Blade Show configuration Arius's. So do not pay the secondary prices.
Or do, whatever
I mean,
floats your
like if you
boat.
can't wait and you have the extra cash, who am I to say and tell you to do with your money with what you want to do with it,
Yep, I agree. So moving along, we talked about the mini Arius. That's not going to come out until next year. So if you're waiting for one, don't go buy something else. You got 365 days. And we didn't even talk about it. The Evo 3.0 is not being released until August
2020.
2022.
Yes.
You go back in time. What do you got, a DeLorean?
Yeah, no, 2022 definitely. But I mean, that's so far a ways off. You might
Yes.
forget about it. So that means if you forget about it and then it just randomly shows up in the mail, it's like Knife Christmas.
It doesn't randomly show up in the mail. You have to pay for it again.
Well, after you pay for it. Honestly, when do you think they're gonna make you pay for the rest of it? You think it's going to be like within 6 months, or you think it's going to be like a month out from it being shipped?
I
Like,
don't know, but to the people that bought the $1,800 or $1,600 full Domesteel Damascus scaled,
Jesus Christ.
yeah, that's a big chunk of change.
Honestly, the 2.0, like the secondary market, they're at least making a grand back on their investment from
Oh
what I've
yeah.
seen.
Well, not making a grand, they're selling them for a grand. The dark UTI
Right.
is going for about $1,000 right now, and that was like
Mhm.
a $750 knife, $700 knife table, give or take. I wasn't lucky enough to get one.
Well, no, like the Domesteel and the Damascus handle,
Oh,
like
I'm
the
sorry.
2.0s.
Yeah.
Those are a grand above table, like from what people are like trying to sell them right now. I don't know if they're being sold, but like I've seen some listings and like people are definitely interested around that price point. So you never know.
No, you don't. I mean,
And
it's a gamble.
the 3.0, I was also told, is a little bit bigger than the 2.0. So if bigger knives are your thing, this would be the drop to get on for
No, it's
Evos.
definitely bigger. There's no doubt about that. They came right out there and said it's going to be closer to the 1.0 than it is the 2.0. There's no doubt about that.
So you think like it'd be like around the same size as like a shaman, you think?
I never had a shaman. I can't tell you. I never held one.
Well, okay, so Demko 80/20.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Every time I pick up an Evo 2.0, I
Hmm.
flick it and I go, "Why would anybody want one of these when they have an Arius?" And I think that the Evo 2.0 in my hands always felt like it was a little on the smaller side. So think Evo. I mean, Arius Evo 2.0 is a little smaller than an Arius. I have to
Okay,
imagine that a 3.0 is probably going to be a little bit bigger than an Arius. So if an Arius is too big for you, I would say that the 3.0 is probably going to be too big for you and that you should buy a 2.0. If the 2.0 is too small for you and you like how an Arius feels, then I would assume a 3.0 would probably be better suited for you. Now, again, I haven't held a 1.0. This is just from pictures and sizes, but I
right.
would say that when I flick an Evo, it feels good. But the way an Arius feels when you flick it, I can hold the entire handle. Whereas, like, I feel like with the Rotten Evo, I was 2.0, I was just looking for a little bit more handle in the palm of my hands, if that
A little
makes
bit
sense.
more, a little bit more purchase.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Because don't drop your knife. I almost dropped. I bought a Anton Boudica front flipper, and I almost dropped it as I was messing around with it, and it cut me because I hate front flippers. I don't know why I buy them. It's Anton knives, and I want to have a front flipper because it's a South African. But guess what? I fucking loathe them. I just can't manipulate them. And on that note, my other pre-order is a CKF 5th to 20, which is being shipped out in July. Yay! And what I didn't know when I bought one of those and pre-ordered them is that it was a frame lock. Now I had a 5th 23. You can find it on the channel. It's fucking awesome. Why? It's got bolsters. I could grip that shit as hard as I want and ramp up that fucking detent, and boom, out comes the knife. The frame lock, not so much. So I don't know what I'm going to do with my 520, but I don't think it's going to hang around. Just like I don't think my Boudica is going to hang around. Frame locks and front flippers do not go in my hands. Um, and then we got the Vero Mini Accent, right? When's that? No date, but it sounds cool. And then what's that last note,
I, I
Dryan?
I already talked about the mini Axon, but
I know.
yeah, definitely. I mean, for those who didn't hear it the first time, no date on that, but it's a thing. And then also retouching on the mini Arius really quickly, it's around the same size as the mini Goblin. My buddy Jason showed it like side by side comparison. Lengthwise, it's like around the size of the mini Goblin. And then let's
Hang
talk
on.
about
Before
what?
you go on to that, let me talk
Okay.
about Simeon Custom Knives and Jamie Simeon. I've got the Unto with the traditional Spidey hole. I had a Yeti, which was a great knife that I had moved along. And I was on his Instagram page. He had a couple of knives from Nashville Custom Knife. And he's got an Unto with a larger Spidey hole that I've been pestering to purchase from him. So if you haven't heard of Jamie Simeon and Simeon Custom Knives, I would definitely recommend it. He's putting out some really good stuff, and I hate promoting people that um, it's going to make it harder for me to get a knife, like Brown Knives, Simeon Knives, NCC, but definitely even Anton Knives. And go check these guys out. They're really doing stuff that speaks to me. And as much as it, like I said, sucks that I'm telling you guys to go look at makers that I'm excited for, if you guys don't buy them, then I'd have to buy them all, and then I wouldn't have any new knives to buy. So go take a look. I'm really excited for the stuff that he's got coming out. And now, Dryan, you can talk about that last note.
Okay, so the last note is going to be the New York Custom Knife Show that got moved from New Jersey to Tennessee, and it's going to be the weekend of November 19th. And honestly, like from what I can see, like from the list, the number one person on that list so far that you want to look out for is Andrew Demko and his team and John Demko. Uh, well, it only lists Andrew Demko, so maybe John's not going to be there. But yeah, like his team is I mean, if you want to score a TI 8020, it might be at that show. Like, I believe VIP passes are $35, and like early access is Friday at 11 a.m. So line up for that TI 8020 if you want it.
And this is the time to buy those. $35 is a drop in the bucket when you talk about secondary pricing. If you're on the fence at going, I can't tell you how many posts there were for Blade that said, "Hey, I'm going to Blade. Last minute plans. Does anybody have a ticket?" You can
Right.
always move a ticket. Get yourself a ticket. Get on the early bird. Get on the VIP. Get on the early access. Get what you want. Don't spend the money to get there on Saturday and say, "Hey, there was nothing available at that time."
Hmm.
Yeah, you got to be hardcore. If you're not hardcore and you live hardcore,
Then
you
you're
know,
soft core.
that's it. And then you're going to be salty. I like the Vero page after a drop when somebody doesn't get what they want.
Actually,
Uh,
not anymore lately. I've yet to see salt lately.
well, everybody can get what they want because of the
Yeah.
reserve. Everybody's got an action coming.
Yep.
It's definitely times are changing, right?
Times are changing. Whole new world.
All right. So we covered a lot. If everybody could do us all a favor and like, subscribe, comment.
Comment,
Uh
comment, comment if you went to Blade Show. If you didn't, like, what did you pick up? Like, what's your new knife?
Let us know what we haven't talked about. Let us know what you want to hear about because if you don't tell us, we won't know.
Alex will definitely let us know.
Yeah, did anybody win that weird lotto today? You know he was playing, right?
I think like a good chunk of people in our knife chat. Also, so our knife chat, if you guys want to be in that, and if you're like a good Boy Scout and everything, let us know. Like we can add you to it. We're not the admins or anything. We're mere peasants among greatness in the knife chat that we're in. But if you guys want to be part of that, let us know and run like we could run it by the admins and see if we could add you to it.
And it's no longer the Vero chat.
No longer
We
the Vero chat. So pretty much, I mean, it's literally just we love NAFs. So I mean, I like it this way because it doesn't have like anybody's brand on it. So I mean, it's just a bunch of hooligans talking about knives.
yeah, and stay on topic because
Yep.
minivans and the other extracurricular activities, they're hysterical, and we love to talk about them too.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
but yeah, it's a safe space. So if you're looking for one, don't hesitate to reach out. We'd love
It's
to
a
join you.
it's a sharp space.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
All right,
So
Dryan. Well, find me on Instagram, Watson and the Shark, Dryan.
at NYC Knife Life, if you like this podcast and you want to hear more from us, leave us a like, comment on the video so we hit that YouTube algorithm up. And if you don't like it, hit the dislike button and subscribe. Definitely. All
All right, guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful weekend and look forward to hearing from you all next week.
right. Take care, guys. Bye.
Bye.